Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of I Should Be Painting. Today we're going to be talking about why you should have lots and lots of test models to practice your paint schemes. One of the most difficult decisions that we all come across as miniature painters is figuring out what the heck we want our armies to look like. We may have a lot of ideas, we may see a lot of things online, we may have a particular chapter, but when it comes down to it, we don't always know exactly if we have the skills to pull off a particular scheme or how we're even going to like it once it gets done. My recommendation is to have a nice big box of models that you can test paint on and to test paint as many models as you can. For my purple Primaris Marines, I went through about 5 different test colors. I tested red, I tested silver, I tested blue, and I tested 2 types of purple. It wasn't until I got to the 7th or 8th model that I knew 2 things. One, I knew how I was going to paint the model. I knew the individual steps, what I was going to prime, what I was going to detail, what paints I was going to use, but also I knew which scheme I liked the most. Oftentimes the paint schemes that we really like may seem easy to do or look really cool on a glossy page or a bright monitor, but in reality are quite difficult to do or don't look as good in real life. It's extremely important not to get discouraged, and so having lots of test models is a fantastic way to find out exactly what you're able to paint and whether or not you're going to like it. For those of us who have been painting a long time, you probably have plenty of models that you can just reach into a drawer and pull out, throw on some primer, throw on some paint, and not feel too bad about it. However, if you are new, specifically if you are brand new and you are buying your first starter box, you might not have anything to test on. So what do you do in the cases where you want to try out a new paint scheme, but you don't have any test models? For this, I have 2 recommendations. One, head on over to your local game store, ask them if they have a used bits box or if they have any old armies for sale, and spend $5 or $10 and just buy between 10 and 20 used models. If that's too much work or you just don't want to go out right now, I can't imagine why somebody wouldn't want to go out right now, paint something else, it's okay. Find a little toy, find a little box, heck, find a piece of cardboard or a rock and test your scheme out on something that is not your miniature. Don't forget that so long as you don't put too much paint on, if you're not really globbing the paint and just destroying the miniature, you can actually paint over a lot of miniatures without doing too much damage. I find that doing testing is extremely important, and it is oftentimes overlooked when we see all of these clean and polished versions of, hey, this is how you paint White Scars or Iron Fists or Stormtroopers. In most cases, all of those artists have practiced at least once, if not dozens of times. And sometimes, that's right, one of your models becomes the sacrificial lamb. This is a Reaver that I tested. I was gonna do all of my Primaris in like that candy red, but I wanted to do it with contrast paint instead of the Tamiya red paint. So I did a really shiny silver and then slathered the red contrast paint over, and it actually looks really good. It's super cool, but I wound up not going with that army, and so my Reavers now have a 5-man squad instead of a 10-man squad. Was sacrificing this one model worth it in order to finish 60 other models and know exactly what I was going to paint and how I was going to do it? Absolutely. My last thought on painting test models is this. When you are honing in on the exact paint scheme that you want to do, you are not just letting yourself know that you like that paint scheme, you are also setting up your workspace to prepare to paint a lot of models. So make sure that when you finally figure out, okay, I'm going to use this red and this brown and this green, you put away all the other paints that you tested and you only keep out the paints that you used for that test model, and then you take your test model and you put it right up in front of you as a reference so that you can quickly work on the rest of your army without having to try and remember what you did or get confused by the models that you may have tested and not liked. With that, let's go over to the computer. I have 3 things to show you from the internet. One of them I'm really excited for. It's super cute. It's so cool. I love it. It's just, can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see it. We might even talk about some more 9th edition stuff, but I feel like that's getting a bunch of play. So let's take a look at the 3 things that I looked at when I should have been painting. Here we are at the desk, and we are going to take a look at 3 things from the internet from this past week that distracted me, that made me happy, that gave me inspiration, and the very first one is by far my favorite. I don't even know if I should start with it because I don't think we can follow this one. That's right. It is a custom-made Primaris doggy. This one is made by Russ, and Russ is involved in a whole bunch of amazing other things. I will link them in the notes below. But as far as Russ's 40K hobby, yeah, that's right. In his Primaris squad, he's got a dog, and it's the best dog. I am not happy that it's not purple, right? We already talked about this, Russ. It should be purple, but yellow is fine. It's okay. This might be one of my most favorite conversions I've ever seen, and it's so simple and cute and little. I love it so much. Next up, we're moving to this. This is a paint scheme that blows my mind. It's all acrylic. It's no airbrush. It's retro wave. I will link the Facebook page. It is from Sir J, and man, when you see this stuff on his Facebook page, like, this is just the tip of the iceberg, but yeah, that's incredible. Absolutely freaking incredible. And it's purple. Thank you for having it be purple. Lastly, we're going over to Instagram. We're going to a friend. We are going over to Darkchronoangel. And of course we are following. Hello. Hi. You can talk to her on the CGN Discord, but she does fantastic stuff, and she also live streams art. She paints miniatures. She makes chibis. She looks at deer. It's fantastic. You should check her out. Darkchronoangel is her Instagram. I am already following. And that is what we have for this week. Simple and sweet. I hope you enjoyed this episode of I Should Be Painting. I apologize that it is a day late. Hopefully tomorrow, fingers crossed, arms crossed, everything crossed, knock on wood, we will get the next, this old 40K, and we'll finally get the steam pipes done. I got distracted by trying to finish painting my 8th edition stuff before 9th edition came out, which I have also accomplished. So until next time, this has been Aaron from the Cool Guys Nation, and we will see you on the table. Remember to like and subscribe, hit that bell button if you never miss an update. If you made it all the way to the end of the video and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. You deserve it.